Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, it is great to see a full house here tonight. Can everyone hear me okay? We've got these new microphones. I want to make sure you can hear me. Is that good? It's great to see so many people here tonight. So welcome to the council meeting. I have a couple of updates I would like to share, and then we'll go through and see if anyone else has an update. First, I'd like to say that the Vice Mayor Holmes is joining us via Zoom tonight, and I believe he's on. Is he here? Okay, very good. And also, I wanted to remind everyone that we will be having or helping with a mini golf event on Thursday night. If you're able to come out and bring the children to the Traveling Bear mini golf course. It will be with first responders, so they'll have a chance to play golf for free, the mini golf for free. They will also have a chance to see the big fire trucks and ambulances and police cars and meet our staff, as well as free slushies. So that makes you want to come right there. It's the free sunset slushies. There's also a number of events going on in downtown and throughout the city with the 4th of July events, and so I hope you'll get out and attend these community events in the next week. It's really exciting with all the things going on, and hopefully the temperature will go down just a hair. Even if it gets down to mid-80s, that would be great. I like the hot weather, but it's been really a scorcher lately. So I will pass it along and see if anyone else has any comments.
No city-specific comments, just a general awareness thing. Obviously, as you alluded to, it's been incredibly hot, unseasonably warm. So, please, check on folks that may be older, may be sensitive to incredible heat. Be sure to stay hydrated, and very importantly, keep your dogs in shade or inside, preferably with access to water, because this can be very dangerous heat for people and for animals both. So please be careful out there.
I want to make one note that we have recently seen a new business open in the city, Eggs Up Grill by Kroger, and I know a lot of people are excited about them, and we hope that they do very well.
I'm good.
All right, city manager comments.
Yes, council, just a couple of comments. You all stole most of my thunder, but just a reminder that city offices will be closed on July 4th and Friday, July 5th for the Independence holiday. And if you'll check out the city's Facebook page for information on the adjusted solid waste collection schedule, we would appreciate it. However, if your trash is supposed to be picked up on Thursday, it will now be picked up on Wednesday, and if it's supposed to be picked up on Friday, it'll be picked up on Monday. And then I also remind everybody that the Bristol's July 4th event will be downtown Bristol this year over at Anderson Park, starting at 10 p.m.
All right, thank you. We're looking for an adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda with one modification, to move item G, matters to be presented by the public, non-agenda items, to after item C.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Tennille, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Pollard,
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. All right, moving into the agenda. We have now moved up the matters to be presented by members of the public, non-agenda items, and I don't believe anyone has signed up for public comment. So we will move into the regular agenda. With the first thing is to recognize David Maples for years of service on the DSS board. And I would just like to say, as a fellow member of the Department of Social Services Board of Directors, I am honored to recognize and extend my deepest gratitude to my friend, Dave Maples, for his exceptional dedication and service on our board for the past 8 years. As many of you all know, Dave has provided many years of public service in another capacity and retired as our sheriff years ago. Well, not too many years ago, but since then has been serving also on our Department of Social Services Board. For most of those years, you have been the chair of the board, and we appreciate your leadership and vision. Your unwavering support and compassion have made a lasting impact on countless individuals and families in Bristol. So on behalf of the council, our Director of Social Services, Jeff Justice, and the staff, and the Board of Directors, I want to express our heartfelt appreciation for your outstanding contributions and commitment to public service. So thank you, Dave, for your remarkable service and being a pillar of strength and support for our Bristol community. So at this time, I would like to ask Jeff to come up, Jeff Justice. And Jeff, would you like to say anything additional to that?
I'd just like to add that it wasn't just service, it was dedicated service to all the staff members. To me personally, since becoming director, Dave was the only chairman that I had known, and I always felt supported by Dave, and that translated to the citizens that we serve as well. Just want to say once again, thank you so much, Dave, from the bottom of my heart.
Wonderful. Well, we'll ask Dave to come up, and Jeff, and anyone else that would like to join us for this photo opportunity.
And Dave, we have...
See you, Sheriff. Have a good one. All right, I'll see you. Thank you. All right, thanks.
That's a wonderful way to start a meeting, and now we'll move into another wonderful thing, a proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month, July 2024, and we'll have a staff report by Jake. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. Danny Hill with Parks and Rec is here to help me out with this item.
Okay.
Parks and Recreation Month, celebrated every July, is a dedicated time to recognize and appreciate the vital role that parks and recreation activities play in enhancing our quality of life. This month-long celebration encourages communities to engage in a variety of activities that promote health, wellness, and social connection. From community picnics and outdoor movie nights to fitness classes, hiking events, and sports tournaments, there are numerous ways for people of all ages to participate. By celebrating Parks and Recreation Month, communities can foster a sense of community, promote active lifestyles, and highlight the essential benefits that parks and recreational programs bring to our lives. So Parks and Rec operations is housed within Public Works. I have 17 employees that maintain all 16 parks, including Sugar Hollow, the campgrounds. They also mow the right-of-way for us and maintain the stormwater BMPs that the city owns. And then, Danny, you've got a staff report as well, right?
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City staff. The Park and Rec programming side, we have 4 full-time employees, and out of that, we run the sports, the Senior Adult Center, programming within the campground and the picnic areas, as well as special events throughout the year. I may briefly just share with you what we do with these 4 people. We do volleyball, flag football, junior Bearcat tackle football, adult flag football, youth basketball, adult softball, rental of athletic fields, practices, tournaments, and outside leagues such as the Bristol Soccer Association Spring and Summer League. These are all handled by one person, our athletic supervisor. In senior adult, which, by the way, Miss Rebecca Crawford is in our presence tonight, and she's a dedicated worker there at the Senior Center, we have weekly fitness programs, excursions and day trips, arts and craft classes, cultural opportunities such as the Senior Show Choir, a weekly meal program, District 3, and then we have monthly special events. In the programming side within the park, of course, we run the campground, we run the picnic shelters. Regretfully, we used to have a pool, but right now that's not available. There's a lot of problems with that, with the age of it. I think everyone's looking to see is it worth the effort or not to repair that. And also, all of this is pretty much handled, the reservations, through our office secretary. She also makes out the ranger schedule each month that we have the park open. Then we have special events. We have Easter egg hunt each year, Bark in the Park each year, Halloween event, Cumberland Square Park each year, and we have the annual summer and Christmas musical shows at Paramount and to the assisted livings throughout the area and Tri-Cities. So out of the 4 people, we try to provide a wide array of park and rec opportunities for our community, and we appreciate your all support.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, and I'll just say thank you to all the dedicated staff. I mean, that was a ton of events, a ton of things that you all were responsible for, and there's not a whole lot of people there that make all that happen. So we greatly appreciate it. We enjoy every bit of these services that you have and that you offer in the event. So thank you from this council. We truly appreciate it. So at this time, I would like to get a council and, first we need to do the reading of the proclamation. Randy?
Sure. A proclamation to honor and recognize professionals, services, programs, and facilities of Parks and Recreation during the month of July 2024. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the fine people of Bristol, Virginia, and whereas the Parks and Recreation operations staff, through their dedicated efforts of daily maintenance of our pristine parks, athletics fields, campground, picnic area, hiking trails, and other facilities, including their infrastructure. And whereas the Parks and Recreation programming staff provide youth and adult sports opportunities for physical fitness, as well as competition, and through senior adult programs of fitness, music, arts, and crafts, plus day trips offering many of the socializations they desperately need in their later years. And whereas Parks and Rec promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of people who live near parks, by promoting time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activity of our citizens by providing space for sports, hiking, trails, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation is a partnered provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education with our senior adult population. And whereas Park and Recreation increases a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. And whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the City of Bristol, Virginia recognizes the benefits derived from the Parks and Recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved that Becky Maeve, Mayor, do hereby designate that July 24 be recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Bristol, Virginia.
All right, thank you. So we're looking for a council motion and second.
I move to approve the proclamation as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council discussion.
I'll say briefly to Mr. Hill, thank you for highlighting all of the stuff you all do. The one that I would like to focus in on and just talk about the importance of is the services that the Parks and Rec Department provides to seniors, like at your senior center. I'm on the board of District 3, and your congregate meals program does a whole lot of good through District 3 in the city and in other localities too. But the staff at District 3 goes on and on about what a great, well-run program we have in the city to handle congregate meals as opposed to some other localities. So As a board member for District 3, I appreciate it. As a person who represents a whole lot of people in the city, I appreciate it. And I wouldn't want to speak for the folks who use it, but I'm sure they appreciate it too. So thank you.
They also do a lot for kids in the area, those who attend the public schools, those who don't attend the public schools. We have a lot of home-educated kids that make use of their programs, and they do an excellent job on an extremely thin budget, making use of volunteers every chance they get. And they just do a great job with what they've got, and they try to expand it regularly, giving kids great uniforms. They've also done a great job with getting local sponsors as well to help towards those. I really appreciate everything they've done for our kids.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what they already said, Mr. Hill, we've known each other for a few years now, and I don't know how you get everything done, everything that you do, and so we appreciate it. There's a lot of things that just wouldn't happen for both kids and adults here in the city if it wasn't for your all's dedication. So we appreciate you all.
All right, Tennille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nay.
Yes. All right, if you all want to join me up front, and we'll get a picture.
Rebecca, come on. Okay.
All right, next on the list is a resolution of City Council approving the City of Bristol, Virginia's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against Kroger and its related corporate entities, and directing the city attorney to execute the documents necessary to effectuate the city's participation in the settlements. No one has signed up for public comment. Staff report, Randy.
Council, this is a resolution that will authorize the city attorney to endorse any documents necessary for the settlement of certain opioid-related lawsuits that were filed by Bristol, Virginia against Kroger and its related corporate entities for the role in the distribution, manufacture, and sale of pharmaceutical opioid products that have fueled the opioid epidemic that has harmed Bristol. At this time, I do not know the specific settlement dollar amount. However, it operates just as the previous settlements that we've been a part of. It would go to the state of Virginia through the AG's office and then distributed to the city at a later date.
All right, reading of the resolution.
A resolution of the City Council approving the City of Bristol, Virginia's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against Kroger and its related corporate entities, and directing the city attorney to execute the documents necessary to effectuate the city's participation in these settlements. Whereas the opioid epidemic that has cost thousands of human lives across the country also impacts the City of Bristol, Virginia by adversely impacting the delivery of emergency medical, law enforcement, criminal justice, mental health, and substance abuse services and other services by Bristol's various departments and agencies. And whereas the City of Bristol, Virginia has been required and will continue to be required to allocate substantial taxpayer dollars, resources, staff energy, and time to address the damage the opioid epidemic has caused and continues to cause the citizens of Bristol. And whereas a settlement proposal has been negotiated that will cause Kroger to pay over $1 billion nationwide to resolve opioid-related claims against it. And whereas the city has approved and adopted the Virginia Opioid Abatement Fund and Settlement Allocation Memorandum of Understanding, the Virginia MOU, and affirms that this pending settlement with Kroger shall be considered a settlement that is subject to the Virginia MOU and shall be administered and allocated in the same manner as the opioid settlements entered into previously with the distributors Janssen, Teva, Allergan, Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens. And whereas the city's outside opioid litigation council has recommended Bristol participate in the settlement in order to recover its share of the funds that settlement would provide. And whereas the city attorney has reviewed the available information about the proposed settlement and concurs with the recommendation of outside counsel, now therefore be it resolved that the city council this 25th day of June 2024 approves the city's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against Kroger and its related corporate entities, and directs the city attorney to execute the documents necessary to effectuate the city's participation in the settlements, including the required release of claims against Kroger. Whereupon the mayor declared the resolution adopted, affix a signature on this, the 25th day of June 2024.
All right, thank you. We're looking for a council motion and second.
I move for approval of the resolution as presented.
Second.
All right,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Council discussion. No discussion. Tennille, please call the roll.
Barnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Next on the agenda, public hearing for special use permit 01-2024, 245 Albert Lane, residential in a business district. Now ask the Planning Commission to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now open the meeting.
And no one has signed up for public comment. Staff report, Jay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Staff has received an application for a special use permit for what's currently 245 Albert Lane, file number 01-2024. The request is for multifamily residential in a B3 general business district. As mentioned, the proposed use is multifamily residential. The special use permit is required by code for multifamily residential in a B3 zoning district. The property is currently vacant. You can see there was a house on there that was addressed at 245 Albert Lane. That house is no longer there. The applicants are Michael and Ashley Cooper, and they are also in the process of finishing 29 apartment units across the street on Bristol View Drive. Currently, 10 of those are occupied. 10 should be finished by the end of this month, and the remaining 9 will be by the beginning of August, if I'm not mistaken. An additional 6 units could be constructed on the property, which we are considering tonight if the special use permit is granted. So you can see the zoning. The star is the area of the property in question is B3. You have R3, which is multifamily residential right across the street, and that's why they were able to build the apartments they have now. You kind of have a mix of it. The area is mostly residential, even though you have kind of these business and manufacturing zoning districts in this area. It's just an older section of town. These are the apartments that are currently constructed across the street. The ones the request for will be similar. I think they may have some garages if they can fit them, but otherwise they'll basically be this style. So as mentioned, special use permit has been submitted for multifamily residential in a B3 district. City Code Section 5032 lists that permitted uses for this zoning district, and multifamily is only allowed with a special use permit. Density and yard requirements for a permit allowing multifamily in a B3 would be in accordance with the R3 requirements. The special use permit does allow for a specific use to occur without changing the zoning district. The property is currently vacant, and the proposal is to construct 6 apartment units. The Planning Commission recommended this for a joint public hearing at their May 20, 2024 meeting. City Code 50-186F stipulates that a special use permit may be granted following due consideration of 8 particular questions regarding the impact of the proposed use and the availability of local services for the planned use. And I'm going to go through those staff solicited comments from other staff members. I'm going to go through those 8 uses for the responses that we did have. So the first would be the sufficiency of streets and public ways to accommodate increased traffic flow. the considered opinion of the city engineer and of any certified traffic engineer being given particular weight by the council. I did get comments from Jake Chandler, our Director of Public Works, and Uma Pokuri, civil engineer. Their comments were that the current number of apartments would likely increase the average daily traffic to over 400 vehicles per day, which would cause Bristol View Drive to require future widening. The 29 existing apartments that are being constructed were permitted by right, and the developer was not required to do off-street site improvements. While the addition of 6 more apartments will increase the ADT to require additional off-site work, would be difficult to justify for 6 more apartments. So this is a project which they will add to the CIP for future improvements. 2, the sufficiency of electrical, water, sewer services for the proposed project. The considered opinion of General Manager of the Utility Board being given particular weight. We did not receive any comments from BVU. However, our GIS does show water and sewer available at the site. The sufficiency of fire, police, garbage, and other services of the city to meet the needs of the proposed project. The opinion of the department head of each department providing such services being given particular weight. Again, from Jake Chandler, our Director of Public Works, a solid waste dumpster would be preferred given the current narrow roadway surface and the fact that 29 rollout carts will be placed on the opposite side of Bristol View Drive. This is something that will be ironed out during the site plan process. The adequacy of protection to adjoining properties and the air and water of the Commonwealth from noise, odor, pollution, and health hazards. The opinion of the State Health Department, State Air Pollution Control Board, Water Control Board being given particular weight by the council. I did not receive any comments on this, but these types of things are usually addressed during the site plan process as well. The impact of the proposed project upon property values of contiguous property owners as evidenced by the testimony or written opinion of the city's Economic Development Committee Director. Mac Chapman, our Economic Development Specialist, commented with the housing need in our community and the projects the applicant is currently completing, this project should only continue to have a positive impact on the property values in the area. I did not receive any comments for 6 or 7, as you see there. Any of those types of issues, again, would be addressed in the site plan process, and it does not have anything to do with a parking lot or a parking garage, so number 8 is not applicable. And that is all I have for the staff report.
All right, thank you. I will now ask Daniel to close the public hearing.
Thank you. I now close the hearing.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, approval of Douglas School Apartments loan assumptions.
Council, the current owner of Douglas School Apartments has sold or is in the process of selling the property to another entity. In 2007, the city loaned Douglas School Apartments LLC $500,000 in 2 separate notes. Both notes are due and payable on the last day of the 12th month of the 31st year after the occupancy permit was issued. No payments of interest or principal were required. However, the notes do state that the interest accrues at 4% per year. Douglas Streets Apartments LLC needs to assign its obligations to the new buyer. The assignment and the assumption are in good order and they are attached below. With council approval, they will allow Douglas Street Apartments LLC to assign its obligations to the new owner. In regards to the agreement that's attached to these documents, there is not a fixed amount as to currently what is owed. I'm waiting on documentation from the council for the buyer in order to place that into the documents. And with your all's approval, once I get that number, we could go ahead and sign the assignment once we receive that information.
All right, we are looking for a council motion and second.
I move to approve the Douglas School Apartment loan assumptions as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council discussion.
So, for clarification, you said that the original wording did not charge interest, but that it accrues interest at 4% per year?
Right, they don't have to pay interest payments
Yeah.
for principal payments right now, but they would pay interest and principal all due on the 12th month of the 31st year.
So they'll just pay one lump sum in 2038
Yes.
at a 4%. Is it a compounding interest?
It's per year, so it's not compounding.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, with no further discussion, Tenniel, please call the roll.
Barnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nate.
Yes. Next item, supplemental appropriation for the fiscal year 2025 budget of $782,134. Staff report, Tamara.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. This item is a supplemental appropriation to the fiscal year 2025 budget in the amount of $782,134 to appropriate beginning balance funds to fund the required local match for Bristol, Virginia Public Schools as required by the final state budget for fiscal year 2025. Once again, this is to the next year's fiscal budget. So staff recommends that council approve the supplemental appropriation as listed.
All right, we're looking for a council motion and second.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council discussion.
This is an amount that has come, that we have to pay it because the state decided to increase, and rather significantly, the funding to our local schools. We're very grateful for the additional state funding to our schools. But with that, unfortunately, comes an additional, because of the formula that the state uses to determine local ability to pay, along with that comes a large for us, local amount that we have to pay as well. Now, fortunately, the schools are getting a lot of additional funding, but it is going to involve a little bit of additional pain for us, and there's nothing that we can do about it. If we did not provide the additional $782,000 in local funding, the schools would lose several $1 million in state funding. So fortunately, our CFO, Assistant City Manager, has found a way to make this work as she keeps working miracles for us, and we're very appreciative for everything that she does. This is going to involve some difficult decisions later, and we are going to tackle that the best we know how. But for now, this is something that has been pushed on to us by the state.
Well, I'll just add, thank you, Ms. Bradley, for your work getting this ready, and thank you to Ms. Tammy for your work over at the school board office on this. You know, I know this seems like a very large amount of money, but as Mr. Pollard alluded to, you know, it just keeps us at the required local effort as determined by the Commonwealth, by the state. And, you know, I think this is something that, you know, this year and I think next year we're going to have to be ready to address. I know that, I believe from both branches of the state government, folks have talked about increasing teacher pay again next year. So, you know, there will be additional costs, not just this year, but next year, probably the year after that, to get us to the goals that they have set. So, you know, this is a large amount of money, but it is always good to spend money on students and spend money on schools. That's a place we want to spend money. So I appreciate the work you all have done on this.
Yes. All right. Yep, I'll agree. Thank you, Tamara, for your work on this and for finding that match, especially right here at the end of the year. I know it's for next budget season, but figuring it out after we'd already figured out a budget, right? So thank you for that. Tenniel, please call the roll.
Barnum.
Yes.
Holmes.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nate.
Yes. All right, ordinances, first reading. So an ordinance to amend City Code Chapter 74 Appendix pertaining to permit to excavate, fill, bore, under, or disturb public right-of-way. No one has signed up for, did I miss one?
We had one more.
I apologize, I did. Yes, let me go to that one. Sorry, scratch that. So committed debt service funds discussion. Staff report, Tamara, and I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor and members of council, the debt service schedule, both before and after the 2023 interim financing, shows $670,998 of committed debt reserve funds to be used to offset current year FY 2024 debt payments. The interim financing changed how long the debt service reserve funds would provide for. Prior to the interim financing, these funds were projected to last into fiscal year 2028. You can see from the slide there that after the interim financing, they're only projected to last until 2026. So based on preliminary financial results from FY 2024, staff recommends that those funds remain in the debt service reserve for future debt escalation, allowing for coverage further into fiscal year 2026, and talking about the $670,998. Council action is required to release those funds from the committed debt service reserve. No action is required by council to leave the funds in the debt service reserve, which is my recommendation. Thank you.
Okay.
And up on the screen, that is what was presented after March. We've earned a little bit more interest since then, so we actually have a little more, but I wanted to show the last presentation that I had presented to council.
So based on your recommendation, we do not need to move forward with a motion and a second as long as we don't want to change that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. We will now move into the next section. Ordinance first reading, an ordinance to amend City Code Chapter 74, appendix pertaining to the permit to excavate, fill, bore under, or disturb public right-of-way. No one has signed up for public comment. A staff report, Jake.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On June 24th, 2014, Chapter 50 Appendix was repealed, and a new Chapter 50 Appendix was enacted to update the fees for various permits and other development review items. At the time, there was an existing ordinance from 1998, which was not repealed and is in conflict with the 2014 ordinance. The attached ordinance amends Chapter 74 Appendix to be consistent with the 2014 ordinance.
All right, we are looking for a council motion and second for first reading of the ordinance, full or by caption.
I move for first reading of the ordinance by caption only.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for caption only. Council discussion.
Well, this is in some ways similar to something that we handled just recently, where new code was adopted, some things were improved, and the original code that was being improved wasn't removed at the same time. So now we have two different places with similar code where things are handled slightly differently, and now we need to get rid of the old version that was being improved on so that, well, the improvements actually take effect.
All right. With no further discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Yes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nay.
Yes. Reading of ordinance by caption only.
Ordinance 24-11, an ordinance to amend City Code Chapter 74, appendix pertaining to permit to excavate, fill, bore, under, or disturb public right-of-way, chapter amended 74, streets, sidewalks, and other public places.
All right. Next, we have ordinances second reading. Second reading of an ordinance for updates to Chapter 50, Article 2, zoning. No one has signed up for public comment. And staff report, Jay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Basically, these were some zoning ordinance updates that were presented at the June 11th meeting for first ordinance reading and was approved by the council. Some definition updates, some new definitions, and then some new land uses to address the casino, skill games, and storage units. Staff recommends approval and adoption of the ordinance on second reading by caption only.
All right. We are looking for a council motion and second for the second reading.
I move for second reading of the ordinance by caption only.
Second.
All right, we have a council motion and second. Any council discussion?
No questions, but thank you for your work on this. I think we covered it a lot last time at the first reading, a lot of clarification, definitions, some new things, so I think it's good.
Yes, thank you. Tenille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Reading of ordinance. Looking for a council motion and second for the adoption.
Ordinance 24-9, title amending Chapter 50, Land Use, Article 2, Zoning Division 3, Section 50-32, Land Uses, Division 9, Section 107, and Division 18, Section 50-242, definitions of Code of Bristol, Virginia.
All right. Council motion and second for adoption.
I move to adopt the ordinance as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Tenille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. All right, next we have an ordinance to classify tax map number 17-15-4-18 as blighted property and increase the real estate tax rate by 5% on the same pursuant to Virginia Code 58.1-3221.6. No one has signed up for public comment. A staff report, Randy.
Council, as part of the 2025 general reassessment on value of property for the city of Bristol, Virginia, Wampler Eanes Appraisal Group conducted an exterior inspection of map number 17-15-4-18, the U.S. Magis International Education Center Incorporated, which was formerly VI. The city assessor determined that under the Code of Virginia, Title 58.1-3221.6, that the buildings are derelict and are considered blighted. The following ordinance will classify tax map number 17-15-4-18 as blighted property and increase the real estate tax rate by 5%.
All right, we're looking for a council motion and second for the second reading, full or by caption only.
I move for second reading of the ordinance by caption only.
Second.
All right, any council discussion?
Thank you to city staff for your work on this. I think we've all tried to stay on top of the VI issue. I think it's been about 2 years now that it's kind of been at the forefront of our minds, probably longer, that something needs to be done. And I am grateful that we have this tool in our toolbox to try and do something. I think last meeting when we voted on this and discussed this, I said that this is the kind of thing that I hope it gets the attention of the owners of the property, and I'm very hopeful that they're aware that we're doing this, and we're going to play hardball with them if we have to, but they need to do what they need to do, and until they do that, we need to do what we need to do, and this is the first step to that.
I completely agree. I think when you look at what our city is composed of, what this is not just about one blighted house or one empty, commercial building. This is a pretty big property in the heart of the city, and it's something we've been discussing for a while. And I think it's definitely something we'll stay on top of going forward, just to try to see if there's any other tools in our toolbox as well. But like you said, hopefully this is something that gets the attention of the current property owner to let him know we need something to be done.
This is, according to GIS, 9.67 acres of property in the heart of the city. It's assessed at some $10.6 million, and it's an eyesore just because they're not keeping it up. Now, this increase that we're proposing won't affect anybody else. It is just this one parcel. We aren't going after everybody with blighted properties in the city in this way. Now, we want them to improve their properties, but we're not increasing their taxes on them. A lot of people are having a hard time keeping out the properties because they're already having a hard time with their existing expenses. And we want to be compassionate as best we can for them. This is concerning someone and an organization that, from all appearances, has it fully in their ability to handle it properly. They just don't want to do so. And we're doing what little we can to try to encourage them to treat it properly. The state has given us an additional ability to try something, and we're going to try it. But we don't want to hurt anybody else in the process. We're actually undergoing expenses in mowing the grass periodically, and this will help us cover that because, well, those expenses go against their tax payments, which they're barely keeping up with as it is. So this will hopefully help us at least not undergo unnecessary expenses in keeping up properties that they should be taking care of themselves. Anyway, we want to not cause any problems for anybody else. We just want to use what tools that we have to encourage them to do what's right.
I'll just add, I think it's a step in the right direction to hopefully get the attention of the owners. I feel like we've been patient enough, and this is a beautiful, beautiful place in Bristol that unfortunately has turned into an eyesore for now. So my hope is this will capture their attention, and we can hopefully at some point see that property turn back into that beautiful campus that it once was. So with no further discussion, Tennille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Reading of ordinance.
Ordinance 24-10, an ordinance to classify tax map number 17-15-4-18 as blighted property and increase the real estate tax rate by 5% on the same pursuant to Virginia Code Section 58.1-3221.6.
All right. We're looking for a council motion and second for adoption.
I move for adoption of the ordinance.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Tennille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is closed session. Pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and discussion of code of ethics in regards to one particular council member.
I move that we enter into closed session for the reasons stated.
Okay.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Tennille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Roll call vote, council members certify that only business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements as specified in the motion to convene an executive session were discussed. Tenille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. Next, the consent agenda, looking for a council motion and second.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Tenille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes. All right, looking for a council motion and a second to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Tenille, please call the roll.
Farnum.
Yes.
Holmes. Osborne.
Yes.
Pollard.
Yes.
Nave.
Yes, we stand adjourned.